Hey everyone, welcome to Nintendo Dads, and we've got another impressions of a game here, which is Claws of Furry on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game has actually been on my radar for a while. I played it a couple of times at events, and I've been looking forward to it. It actually had a Kickstarter campaign, which I backed. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to meet the Kickstarter goal, so it fell through. But I gave them my support and was really looking forward to it. Now, just for clarification, when I played it at the events, we didn't play the Switch version, and we also played 4-player the majority of the time. Which is something that I don't get a lot of a chance to do in my personal life. So let's head straight in and play the rogue mode, which means if you die, that's it, you're done. There is another mode on it, which won't take you back to the very beginning of the game, but it'll take you to the start of the level. But if you don't have a boss fight, you still have to do the level running up to the boss, which was a little bit irritating, and I'll explain that in a sec. So, as you can see, it is sort of in the veins of kind of the old side-scrolling brawlers like Streets of Rage or Golden Axe. And you play as cats, and you can dodge roll, throw fish, and uppercuts as well. Which I'm doing a bad job of showing you guys how it's done. You also have like a special meter at the top left, which is, I believe they call it stamina. And I'm playing very badly. Oh no, you don't want to land on spikes. Spikes are an instant kill, and that's straight out of the game if you land on those. Which is ragingly unfair at times. So as you can tell, it does get a little bit hectic sometimes, and it can be a little bit hard to keep track of what's going on. But basically there's a counter in the top right, which is the amount of baddies that are left in the play area. You have to kill them all in order to advance. And you will pick up a small bit of health from baddies, but nothing substantial, nothing to really sort of scream and shout about. So the graphics on this game, I like them. I like this sort of, you know, hand-drawn style. So many games on the eShop are going for 8-bit and 16-bit at the minute that it is kind of refreshing when you get something that's a little bit different. The only problem that I ever find with this sort of graphics normally is that animations can be a little bit off. I actually think the animations are quite good in this game. As is the music as well. Unfortunately, when there's 4 of you, this scratching sound effect can get incredibly tedious. But overall, I'd say they're pretty good. There is a story in it, and a bit of dialogue at times, but not too much. Which is, again, I think is a win. The controls are pretty good. The jumping is a little bit sort of, it's hard to say, a little bit stiff I think at times. So there can be gaps that you think you're not quite going to make it, but you will. And you have got a double jump as well, just to know. So you can get pretty high as well if you try. And you can uppercut enemies like that, and they do a little bounce. So the cool thing about this game as well is each world has like a different theme, so you'll find different baddies out and about. So it's not always these same rats everywhere. This is literally just for the first world. I don't know if they make a recurring appearance later on, but I haven't got too far in it, which again I'll explain why in a sec. But the core gameplay is actually really fun. It's definitely more fun with the more players you have. And this is where the game kind of falls a little bit flat, because it might seem like I'm doing really well at the minute, and it might seem like it's a bit easy. Unfortunately, this is where it goes downhill. This is where it gets insanely hard, and I cannot beat this baddie on 1 player. So you get these little boss fights at the end of each world, and it's just hard. And the reason is because I just don't think this game's been scaled in difficulty, depending on if you've got 1 player or 4 player. It seems the same, except if you've got 4 players, you can revive each other as many times as you want if you're down. Unfortunately, on 1 player, you don't have any help, no bots, no sort of extra lives, nothing like that. So once you're done, you're done. and it's just insanely hard. And also, for any of you guys who've ever played like a Monster Hunter game, where you know that the baddies have insane amounts of HP and the fights can take forever, this is the same, except the baddies have the same looping sort of attack patterns and animations, so you can learn them, but they're just a little bit too much on the HP side. And again, I'm playing very badly today, so I definitely won't beat him this time. But basically that first part is the easy part, and then now it just gets stupidly insanely hard, to the point where I just can't do this on my own. I've got past it 2-player and I got past it 4-player at the events, but I just can't do it on myself. It's just insane. So every time you hit him, it basically does almost nothing, as you can see. There's health bar at the bottom. And it's just a shame, because if this was scaled down a little bit easier, you know, if they took into consideration that maybe some people might be playing it on 1-player, then it would be so much more fun. But unfortunately it just comes crashing flat, because you can see there that I did quite a lot of damage with the special attack, but you don't get many of those against this boss fight either. It takes a very long time to pump it back up to the point where you can actually unleash that special attack. And he keeps calling his little minions in as well, which he's just done now. He will kill them, and they will give you a little bit of health back, but unfortunately it's still not enough. It just becomes a test of endurance. So basically my verdict on this game is, if you've got a bunch of people, if you've got 4 people, you like the side-scrolling beat-em-up things, brawlers, then you'll really like this. If you're on your own, like I am now, then it's not so fun. So bear that in mind. Like that it is a good game. It's not a bad game. It's just not very good on 1-player. But what you have here is a solid foundation for a game. It just needs a little bit of tweaking. And for Nintendo fans, there is something that might irritate you a little bit in the menus, and that is that they didn't switch around the A and the B from the other consoles. So B is to enter menus and A is to exit, which I know really irritates some people. Personally, I get used to it. It's one of those things that just happens. I mean, if you go to gaming events or you're a multi-console person, then you'll kind of be okay with it. But if you're exclusively Nintendo, that might irritate you just a little bit. But I'm actually doing pretty well to say that. No, I'm not doing well. So there you have it. So for more on Claws of Furry, listen to the Nintendo Dads podcast, where I'll be talking about it more this week. And also everything else Nintendo, just head over to the Nintendo Dads on all the social medias, YouTube, and also on Apple Podcasts and any other good podcasting service. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.